People are at it again with these LinkedIn surveys. Such a good idea. So poorly implemented. This person wants to know how many years work experience do you have? Take a second, take a peek. Can you see anything problematic with this question? Let's say I literally just started working. So I don't even have a year of work experience. Well, shoot, my answer doesn't fit in any of those 3 boxes. What if I have 5 years of work experience? Do I check 1 to 5? Because maybe it's just barely 5 years, or it's less than 5.5, so I should round down. Or do I check 5 to 10 because I want full credit for my 5 and I feel it's a little bit over 5, so it should round up. We don't want people doing that kind of foolishness with the math and just don't have overlapping answer categories. Same thing applies to that little 10 years of experience there. Don't overlap your answer categories. I would literally rather see something like up to 5, more than 5, but less than 10, and more than 10, but less than 30. I would rather see more wordy answer choices than overlapping categories. They're just confusing. And lastly, 30 years of work experience. So let's say I start working when I'm 16, because you can start working when you're 16. Where I grew up, you could start working when you were 14 with a work permit. Some people can start earlier than that, but let's just say 16. So if I started working when I'm 16, I would have 30 years of work experience potentially when I am 46. So let's say I'm 47 and taking this survey. Let's say I'm in my 60s and taking this survey, in my 70s. People of a variety of ages use LinkedIn. Where am I represented in these boxes? Oh, I'm not. Why does this matter? Because you don't have a full picture. You're not giving people the space to be accurate in what they're sharing with you. So you're cutting people out of your sample. The sample would be the people who respond to this. And you're also making it so that whenever you report this data, it's just kind of a little bit wrong because you haven't been comprehensive in the choices you're giving people. You always want answer choices to have the full spectrum. I always say 0 to infinity, right? You want to give the full space for someone to answer. So the top answer category here should be more than 30. Maybe you want to add lots more brackets because I care about the differences between someone who has 50 years of experience and someone who has 30 years of experience, sure. But you don't want to cut it off at a number where I could have more years than that on the top end, or where I could have less years than that on the bottom end. And this applies to anything, full range of options. You always want people to be able to look at the question and be yes, I fit right there. Boom. Boom. If you wanted to make this even better, I would give more context for the question, right? Because someone might see this and be ooh, do I count being a babysitter when I was little? Or do I count my first job as a swim instructor? So you could give some instructions starting with a particular age, or starting with the very first job you ever had. Yes, even babysitting counts. Give people the full context to answer the question. I think that would make this even better. Again, you want to make questions easy for people to answer honestly, and you want to have a good idea of what they're thinking when they're answering it. You don't want some people answering this thinking the only thing that counts as a job is I'm wearing a suit and going to my 9 to 5, and then have half of the people who are taking it thinking about babysitting. Obviously that was my first job. It's come up as an example a few times. So yeah, just some food for thought. So next time you're designing a LinkedIn survey, you can try to do better.